Have you ever wondered what it would be like to not only come to America from a different country, have a language barrier, start a photography business, and not only start a photography business, but learn how to sell and provide beautiful imagery for your clients so that you become a leading fine art photographer in your area? Joining me today is Stefany Ficut, and Stefany Ficut did exactly that. In our conversation today, she talks about coming to America, her journey into photography, and how she has created a wonderful high-end studio for her clients featuring beautiful products. She talks about her process, where she started, how she does it now, and it's a really interesting conversation. I'm glad you're here today with me, Dorie Howell, on the Focal Points podcast, brought to you courtesy of Enphoto. You are listening to Focal Points, a podcast by Enphoto hosted by Dorie Howell. You are in the right place to learn how to build a dynamic and sustainable photography business that you love. All right, welcome to the Focal Points podcast by Enphoto. My name is Dorie Howell, and I'm so glad that you have joined us here today. I'm really excited to have our second guest for the podcast, Stefany Ficut. She is a maternity and newborn photographer in the Dallas area, and she does beautiful, beautiful work. And she's going to let us know where you can find her and see all her work. And we'll have that in the show notes page. But Stefany, welcome. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much for the invite. I am so happy to be here.
That's great. Now, we were talking earlier before we started recording. We're actually recording this in the middle of July, and Dallas is encountering, record-breaking days and high temperatures today. So the first thing I asked her was like, "Are you hot? It's hot today?" And you said the temperature was what?
It's miserable. It's 111, the highest today. So, oh my goodness.
111.
Yep.
Yeah.
Probably.
I'm from California, so I'm used to it being warm, but I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, we're struggling.
Well, I bet it's miserable. That just has to be miserable. Like, how do you even get in your car after it's been sitting in the sun when it's that hot?
Yeah, we just don't go anywhere. That's
yep. Right. I get that. Well, I invited Stefany to join me today. She's an award-winning photographer and does beautiful, beautiful work. But one of the things that I thought that we would talk about today was IPS, in-person sales, and her process with her clients. So, Stefany, I have a few questions about that. But first of all, I would love for you to just tell me and tell our audience a little bit more about your business and who you serve specifically in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Sure. So I have been doing photography for about 10, 11 years now, so quite a while. Long story short, I guess. I was born in Romania in Eastern Europe. I moved here about 8 years ago. I restarted my photography business from scratch, not knowing anybody, and that was a challenge. But I did go through all the phases that most of photographers do, from photographing everything until you figure out what you like, and then from charging nothing until you actually figure out what you're worth. And my journey...
That's everyone's journey.
Yes. IPS wise, I probably started about, I believe, in 2018. So about, 5 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
4 or 5 years ago, around there. And I remember, I don't even know how I got into this group on Facebook. And I just remember sitting in bed and just reading all these posts from all these different photographers sharing their success stories. And I'm like, what is this thing? Because I've never heard of anything like this before. And all I knew was, okay, I am either giving you a CD or you are downloading your images online. So the concept of meeting with the client, offering something more than just digitals was so strange to me. And it was probably a little bit of an adjustment mentally, I guess, until I didn't really think that people would want that.
Mm-hmm.
But just reading all the success stories of all these photographers, it really encouraged me. And I think it was just such a cool thing. That's why I share my success stories too, because I know it can encourage so many people that think it's not possible. So I can say that before I actually made the switch, I really did invest into my education in this area, because this was very foreign to me in my country. This is not something that I have been seen or I've seen people do. So I did invest a lot in my education. I took
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of time until I actually made the switch to make sure I understand what I want to do. I have a good pricing list. I have a good pricing structure. I have a good structure to the process because it is something so different. And sure, you're never going to be prepared enough for whatever challenges are going to come, but I wanted to be as prepared as possible before even actually having my first client. So I got all my samples. I got my pricing ready. I was thinking of everything that I could even possibly think that I would encounter. And I made the switch. And it was probably, I can say it was probably
Mm-hmm.
maybe about 8 months to a year after I actually got really gutsy and made the switch. But I was so ready because I was photographing maybe like 32 clients a month, and these were not even mini sessions, and I
Ooh,
was burned out to the max. Like, I remember one day I
yeah.
think I was sitting in front of my uh, socket drawer. I was sitting in front of my sock drawer. I was trying to get a pair of socks, and I just like started crying because I was just over. I was
Yeah.
done. So I said it. I'm doing this, even if I don't have one client for the next 2 months. I don't even care. I'm making this switch, and I'm going to make this work. So I really
Mm-hmm.
wanted it, and I
Yeah.
made it work, and I'm so happy to be here to talk about it and hopefully encourage other photographers to, venture into this new. I don't even. It's not even new, but venture in this new chapter, to put it like this, because it
Mm.
will definitely change your business and change your life and your family, your lifestyle, everything.
Yeah. It's so funny because people do mention that in person sales is something that's new. It's something that they haven't heard of before. But really, it wasn't until the creation of digital cameras that digital files were even an issue. IPS is something that was done through for centuries. When photographers wanted to sell art, people came in, they chose the images that they wanted, they chose how they wanted them printed, they made their purchase, and then they waited for those images to be delivered at their door. So this is actually the first way that images were sold between a photography business and a consumer. But because with digital photography and a few very well-known people in the industry about 15 years ago came out and said, you need to give all your clients digital files. And if you don't do that, you're doing them a disservice. Once that message got out, it became a really big split in the industry based on what type of business model that you wanted to have. And I'm a firm believer that you can be successful with both business models, but you just have to have some good strategy behind it. And I find it interesting with your story that you are like so many other people, the idea that you didn't want to make this leap until you had everything perfectly lined up in a row. And you wanted all your samples. You wanted your so-called perfect pricing list, although I'm going to guess it probably changed after a few sales. All these things lined up because that's where you were comfortable doing it. And then there's people like me who heard, oh, you mean I can make more money if I offer people, if I sit with them while they're viewing their images? Yeah, I'm in. And I did it with the very next client 2 weeks later. Like it was just like, I heard it. I'm like, I'm going to try it. I'm going to go. So it's very interesting when people approach this type of method. There are really, really two different kinds of
Yes.
personalities that approach this. And it's not right or wrong. It's just really what you're most comfortable with. I would love to know though from you, since you waited and you probably overeducated yourself and you got all your samples and everything in a row. Do you wish you would have made the switch sooner?
Honestly, I think for me, and I agree with everything that you said. It's personality. That's exactly what it is. But I think
Hmm.
that for me, it worked
Yeah.
better like this because I was actually living in an apartment right before I switched. So when I moved into my house, I do work from home right now. So when I moved into my house,
Hmm.
um, it was a good moment for me to actually redecorate this house so that it can work for my business, to even be able to have clients coming in, which I know you don't
Isn't
have
that
to have
fun?
them come in, but that's what I wanted to do. So
Yes.
this is my story, what worked for me, and what works for me might not work for somebody else, and how I do
Hmm.
things might not be how somebody else is going to do
Sure.
them. But I don't regret doing it when I did it. I think it worked great. I probably could have started a little bit sooner, but this is just how I am. I am such a perfectionist and
Hmm.
I'm working on it. And I want to make
Yeah.
sure that everything is like, and I'm aware of every possible scenario that could happen. But absolutely, I am happy with the decision that I made. It worked for me, but if you can do it quicker, go for it and jump on it as quick as you can because it really is a
Yeah.
life changing process that you are completely right. It was there way before. We just were not used to it. So for sure.
Right. We just
Yeah.
didn't hear about it. That's all it was. It kind of became like a marketing issue of like, what's this again? Oh, you mean I can
Yeah.
sell prints? People want those? Yeah. So my next question for you is, what have you found to be the biggest benefit of having an in-person sales studio for your clients?
For having an in-person, well, the money. I
Well, yeah,
That's
that's for
for me.
you. That's for you. But what about, because we all know that if you offer more service, you're gonna be able to charge more. And so people always say like, oh, in-person sales, you just want to make more money. Yeah, I want to make more money, and I'm not
Absolutely.
ashamed to say that. But for your clients, what do you think has been the best benefit for them in how you run your business?
So it did change a lot because right before I started this whole process, it's not that didn't really care about my client, but it was kind of, okay, I'm done with you. Let's go to the next and let's go to the next and let's go to the next and let's do as many as we can so we can, I guess make the most money because in the
Yeah.
end, it still comes to that. But I wasn't really connecting with my client.
Yeah.
Um, Now, I mean, I do spend about 20, I can probably say that I spend about 20 hours with each client, maybe even more. But we do go through a process and I get to actually
Mhm.
know my client. And I get to understand what they want and what they need. And we are photographing, not just photographing, we're photographing with a purpose. Maybe we're photographing for the walls, which, we're
Mhm.
photographing specifically for something that they want in their house, they want to have and see every day, and they will pass by every day. So everything is so different. I get to know, I feel like now I'm there to help them rather than to just, you know,
Mhm.
I guess provide a service, but this service actually has more of a meaning than it did before. And
Mhm.
I don't even think about
Mhm.
it as a sales appointment. And I don't even call it that because I really want to be there for my client to help them and to help them have something that they don't even know
Mhm.
they want yet. And I mean, I guess as much as you sell,
Mhm.
I don't want to see myself as a salesperson, but more of I'm here to help you and I'm going to, even show you what you need
Mhm.
or help you figure out what you need. So that way you'll have something beautiful that you can pass to your kids and your kids can pass to their kids later on and have something that will go from generation to generation. And I think that even in
Mhm.
my industry, because I work with so many maternity and newborn clients, it's so much more significant because they do want to have something. They want to have something I sell these albums all the time, and the end photos albums are my
Mhm.
favorites. All my moms love them. The way that even I talk about them because I love them, and I think it's so important to love what you sell because that's when you're gonna
Mhm.
actually sell it. But all my clients, even when I meet with them, they don't even know me yet, or even when we talk over the phone, they're like, and I tell them a little bit about the album because I do want them to put that idea in their head already. They already know.
Mhm.
They know, and they're like, "Oh, I've seen these albums on your Instagram. I want that for my baby." So they already have that thought, and they
Mhm.
want it. And as I was saying, especially in the maternity and the newborn industry, I tell my moms, you're doing this for you, even the session, but you're doing it more for your baby because this is your baby's story and this is
Mhm.
what you're going to have later on. I've never seen a picture of my mom being pregnant with me. And I don't have a lot of pictures of me being in that baby stage. Um, and I don't
Mhm.
think people realize them. And I tell these to my clients sometimes. I don't think people realize until later on that maybe, I mean, me and my husband, we are going to have a kid maybe next year, 2 years from now. Like we're planning it, but
Mhm.
people say I look a lot like my mom. And now thinking about it all these years later, like I want to know how my mom looked when she was pregnant with me, because maybe I'm gonna look just the same.
Yeah.
Like, was she chubby? Did she have a weird shaped
Yeah.
belly? Like, how did I look when I was a baby? So you know, saying this and hearing my clients reply back that, or telling me back that, it's so true. I don't have no pictures of me being a baby. Or when I do their newborn sessions, most of the clients, what they do is they like, okay, so here's me being a baby, here's mom being a baby. Who do you think my baby looks like? And you realize then, oh, hey, I do value these memories, and this is so important to me. And I wish I had something like this that I can even compare when my baby
Hmm.
comes. So it's just, I think what we do is so much more significant than just pressing a button, photographing your client and delivering them some images. And I love to be part of their stories. I really love so much what I do now.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that. I love that. Some of the products that I really, really love from Enphoto are their presentation options that they give photographers, from their album box to wooden cases to gift boxes to slip cases. There's so many different options that you never ever have to present your client with just a stack of prints again. You can really put together a beautiful, cohesive presentation that also allows for you to have the USB with that, not have the USB. It truly is customizable. If you're looking for a great way to present your prints to your clients, head over to Enphoto today and take advantage of their beautiful offers for print presentation. So what do you think was, when you made that switch from all-inclusive over to a product-based business with IPS, what do you think was the biggest hurdle for you?
Um, my biggest challenge,
Mm-hmm.
I think challenge. So I think this is something that all of us go through. It's kind of that fear of talking over the phone with your client, but
Mm-hmm.
you just have to do it a few times and you get over it. At least that's how I am. I
Mm-hmm.
think for me, just because I was born in a different country, this was more of a I really don't feel like doing this, but I was doing it because
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was so important. It was part of my process. Now I have absolutely no problem with it. And I spoke with so many thousands of people over the phone by now, but I can say that really making that switch, I was a little bit uncomfortable talking over the phone with my clients. I
Mm-hmm.
did have a script that I was going through with, and I probably sounded like I was reading everything at the beginning.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, we start somewhere, all start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But probably that was one of my biggest challenge. I was always good with interacting with people face to face, so I didn't really, I mean, I guess I am a people person, even though I don't think I'm a people person. But I don't have a problem interacting with my clients. The part of the session that I mean, the shooting process, I was doing it anyway, so that was something that I was used to. I've been doing that for years before. The review session, I guess the ordering appointment was a little bit difficult in the beginning because you don't know what to expect and you kind of start to sweat and you kind of, whenever you see those big numbers and you don't want your
Mm-hmm.
client to
Mm-hmm.
see that or feel that. But I remember when I got my first 10K sale, oh my goodness, I was just so sweaty. And my face probably got so red, even though I never get red and hot or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I closed the door behind
Mm-hmm.
them and I ran to my husband. And I was like, they spent over
I know.
$10,000.
I know. It's so awesome. It's so awesome. And the thing that's so interesting is that so many people, I really believe that we get to a certain point in our adult life that we stop growing and we stop pushing ourselves because we become fearful of that next step. But we can't grow unless we go through the normal transition that you just described in your business, is that it's going to feel uncomfortable the first time you do it because you've never done it
Yeah,
before. Your brain doesn't know how to process this brand new thing.
absolutely.
So until you do it a few times and your brain knows what to expect, then it's going to feel a little bit uncomfortable. And that is how it is with everything,
Everything.
everything that we try and do that's new. And I think also when we're dealing with people's precious images of their babies, and also we're dealing with people's finances, and we start charging more than maybe we would be comfortable paying, the emotions really start to come into play for that. And the best thing that you can do is just go for it and try it a couple times and see what happens. And I think clients are so great because if there's a hole in your business or there is something that's not going to work out, your client's going to find
Oh,
it
yeah.
and you're going to see oh, I need to switch, I need to change that now, because either you don't want that pricing issue to happen again, or you don't want that communication issue to happen again. It's a great way to be able to reflect on what you're doing in your business and make those changes and make it better as you move forward. But that initial fear, that initial being a little bit uncomfortable is so normal. And it's something that so many people shy away from because they're just, well, I'm not comfortable doing that. Well, that might be the exact reason why you need to do it.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't do it, then you're just going to stick where you are. You're just going to stay where
Yeah.
you are and nothing's going to change. And nobody wants that. So what do you feel? My next question is, what do you feel is your client's favorite part of your workflow besides working with you and getting those beautiful images? Because everyone would love to have those. But just the workflow that you have from bringing them in, maybe your consultation, your pre-session prep, the session itself. What do you think is your client's favorite part?
Favorite part of the process. Well, I know that okay, let's put it like this. If I was my client and I am inquiring in regards to a service, I probably wouldn't necessarily want to talk on the phone and just kind of get an idea of what I'm looking at and go from there. So probably they're not like so excited about having a phone call with me. But I think that phone call is so important because we
Mm-hmm.
get to connect and they see that I actually care about what they want and I
Mm-hmm.
explain really good what we're going through. And I think it really differentiates myself from other photographers that maybe they have inquired with. And they're like, okay, well, she's different.
Mm-hmm.
So I will remember her out of the bunch. So probably the phone
Mm-hmm.
call is
Mm-hmm.
not their favorite part. They come for a consultation. Maybe they feel kind of like, okay, I don't know what to expect. I do work from home, so they're coming to my home, and I do hear this. Some of them, oh, I thought you have a studio working from home, and maybe that's a little bit still kind of weird because they don't know what to expect. So sure, we're meeting. I think that they can see that I'm friendly, and then we can have a great conversation, and we can kind of connect. So I think that turns out to be good. I, I guess they connect a little bit more with me, so they see, okay, we can kind of be friends, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
we can work together. I kind of like her, so let's see. The session part. The session part is the session part, so we're gonna skip that, right? I think hopefully everybody has a great time for their session.
Sure, sure.
That out of this whole process, hopefully the review session should be the most exciting part, and I do tell them ahead of time that is the most exciting part, so hopefully that kind of
Mm-hmm.
subconsciously goes into their mind and they expect it to be the best part, because we get to see your images. That's what I tell everybody, and it's so fun, and we have such a great time. And sometimes we see tears of joy, which
Right.
I think that's kind of cool to say too, because it tells the mom that it's okay if I cry. So, and I do see,
Mm-hmm.
oh my goodness, I have some clients, I love them. They're just great, but I think that's the best part. I get hugs during the review sessions, like the slash is still going. Grandma comes to hug me. She's like screaming out of her lungs because she's so
Mm-hmm.
happy. The moms as
Mm-hmm.
well. So I think that that's the best part of the process. I like to think that it is. And,
Mm-hmm.
being a client, to put it like that, I would expect that to be as well. So they get to see their
Yeah.
images, and usually it's good feedback. It's happy tears.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love it when they see their images and we do this order type of thing. And after them handing over their credit card or something like that, they give me a big check. They pay me a whole lot of money and they still hug me on the way out.
Yes.
It's like they're truly, truly appreciative of the service that I've provided for them. Because it's so many people get so caught up about the financial amount of the transaction. But if you do a really, really great job and you provide images that they love and service that they love, it's not about the money. It's about how you made them feel and providing them with images that they're going to love for generations. These aren't just like one-time images. I always tell my clients, these are the images that are going to be pulled out when they graduate from high school,
Yeah.
when they graduate from college, when they get married, when they have kids, when their kids have kids, like all these different milestones where these are going to be the images that they're going to want to look at any point in time throughout the course of their life, not just now. And that is priceless.
Yes.
That's absolutely priceless. So I love all this so much. I have one last question for you, and I would love to know, what is your favorite Enphoto product to present to your clients?
My favorite product ever from Enphoto is gonna be their acrylic albums. I spoke about this before with
Yeah.
Enphoto and even in my previous interviews, and my clients love them. I love them. I can't wait to have a kid so that my kid can have one. I think they are so beautiful. I found Enphoto a few years ago before I even started IPS, and I was thinking that, I was still processing this thing that I will start IPS soon. It was at a trade show, and I remember I saw this beautiful blue album, and it just caught my eye on the spot. And I'm like, this is what I'm going to be offering my clients. I just knew it then and there, that this is going to be what my clients will have.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in these albums so much. And not just that, but I have tried other companies before. And I did this before I actually made the switch. I ordered from quite a few different companies, and I wanted to see how those albums will last over time. And I can tell you that I've had albums, even my wedding album that's from another company, different story. But even if I like the pages are coming apart, these albums from Enphoto are the best of the best. The quality is amazing. I had the samples for all these years now, and I've had many clients that went through them because they look at them at their consultation, and so many hands that went through them, and they still look beautiful. The pages are still intact. I have absolutely no issues, and I always recommend these albums to everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. Well, Stefany, before we leave today, first of all, thank you so, so much for being so open and forthcoming with your story and your process and so forth. But how can people find you? Where can they find you?
Sure. So you can find me on Instagram. It is Stefany Ficut Photography. Also on Facebook or on my website. You can connect with me on either one of these platforms.
Great. And we will also have links to all of Stefany's information on our show notes page, which is blog.enphoto.com/podcast. That's blog.enphoto.com/podcast. Go over there, look for this episode, and you can link through to her socials on that page as well. So, Stefany, thank you so much for joining me today. I really, really appreciate the conversation and the time, and hopefully we will be in touch very soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for listening. This has been Focal Points, an Enphoto podcast hosted by Dorie Howell. We hope you've enjoyed the show, and we will see you next time.